He explained how he was invited to Peter Thiel's place multiple times. So let me play it again in full.
I get invited to these dinners. I don't go. I've been invited to Thiel's house multiple times for dinner. I don't go. It's no shade at them or whatever, you know? The reason I don't go is I remember one dinner, they're like, we'd like to discuss the media.
Whoa.
I go, what?
Interesting.
No, thanks. We'd like to discuss dinner. We'd discuss the media and culture. No, thanks. Appreciate it.
No, I've been screaming about this woman for days.
Yeah. So Laura Loomer is a Zionist.
Well,
doesn't that say everything?
It's an understatement.
So Laura Loomer, as a Zionist, Zionist is very important for them in order to get people to support Zionism, to get people to hate Muslims. Don't you guys remember how people like Laura Loomer and these Zionist, Christian Zionist psychopaths, they was trying to convince us that Muslims are trying to implement Sharia law in the West. You guys remember this? Like, this is like Bill O'Reilly. He ran this shit every day. I remember that was back when I had Republican derangement syndrome. Like, Bill O'Reilly was my big bad guy. You know what I mean? You know, the Gen Z people, they like obsess over like Tim Pool and these Republican people. Like,
yeah, we were definitely Bill O'Reilly. Yep, for sure. Rush
he was
Limbaugh.
the guy who scared me to shit libs nonsense. Like, the reason why I voted for Barack Obama, I was like, fuck Bill O'Reilly. Like, he was my guy. And there was segments every fucking night. Gen Z don't understand how crazy Bill was. This motherfucker did segments every night talking about how there is a Sharia law Muslim takeover.
Every night.
Why do you do that? Because it's very important, as I said, for Zionists to project. So as Jewish supremacists hijack Western institutions, they have to scare white people into thinking that the Muslims are after them in order to legitimize their power grab.
Palantir.
And they also learned it worked with immigrants, right? That's my intro monologue. Sarah, I think you want to chime in. Anything you want to add? Because that's why I wanted to say to get started.
I have a love-hate relationship with Laura Loomer.
Yeah, I love to hate her.
Me off to get to some of the greatest stories that I've ever reported on, only because not that she like gave me the story, but just her psychosis and worrying about certain things made me dig further into it. Like, she noticed that she was like, weird, a Ukrainian plane's landing in Arizona. One of my followers just told me that. And like, I went and researched and I was like, holy crap, they're giving them an F-16. And like, I found out all this. I was like, thanks, Laura Loomer. But then she goes and meets with JD Vance. And immediately following that, she's like a Palantir shareholder. Wow. Like, I'm saying that hyperbolically, but like after she comes out, she's like, Palantir is great. And that's the tech that's going to get these guys out of our country. And then she also talks to Nancy Mace and Tim whatever the hell, why can't I think of his name? Anyway, she talks to Ted Cruz and Nancy Mace, who, my God, like, don't even get me on those two. But Nancy and she pushes them and says, I want a bill that will proclaim the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization. So that's in the works.
Yeah. Why does Laura Loomer and Nancy Mace have the same face? Like, why is that the face of like middle-aged?
That's the face of MAGA.
Yes.
They all have that.
MAGA female influencer has the same damn face.
Wife, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Laura Trump, the freaking the girls inside. Natalie Winters even looks like that. It's all like this. I can't do that. Like, it's and it's like these fillers and these sort of slanted eyes. It's very.
For the people who claim they love like white people and white aesthetics, they try their best to like make themselves look half Asian.
Possible. Yeah. Yes. Pam Bondi doesn't look like that. Have you ever seen, or not Pam Bondi, what's her face? Levitt. Caroline Levitt doesn't look like that. Did you see her, what she used to look like? Look like a very normal Midwestern white blonde hair girl. Now she looks like these women.
So either the MAGA women looks like that, or they're an Indian that some MAGA chud married. It's either one of the two.
That's the thing, and that happened last night. Is that they all got into a frenzy over this because Michael Tracy. Why it has to be Michael Tracy is the only one that pointed out that JD Vance louds about this pseudo white genocide going on, a replacement theory, while he's married to a fucking Indian.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the viral tweet because
they eat it up. The MAGA just eats it up.
The thing is, it's a fucking big thing, apparently, where these like MAGA people get Indian wives, because it wasn't even JD Vance I was thinking of.
Let me tell you a story. Now, this is going to be really racist, but let me just, I don't care. I'll do it. I don't care. This is very common in the military. Okay. This is something that military guys do because they have the luxury of doing it.
Oh, yeah.
White dudes who look like sacks of mashed potatoes.
Yes.
Their only hope of getting a girl above a 5 is to get one from somewhere in Asia. And if you're willing to go to the subcontinent or to date an Indian, even better. That's why JD Vance, of the lowly economic class that he's from a disgusting white trash family with all types of drug issues, wound up dating Usha Vance, who is in like some of the highest echelons of the caste system of India and friends with the ruling party. How does that happen?
Look at Sarah, always had to receive. I didn't even know that much about JD Vance's wife, but that says everything. That says everything.
Thiel and her are responsible for JD Vance.
Jesus Christ.
Thiel and her, and it's a match made in heaven because Thiel is the Zionist and she's an Indian. She's a Hindutva. She's Hindutva. She is inside of those circles. The children have Indian names. The children are Hindu. Their first visit was to India. Now let me tell you, I'm a yoga instructor. I love India. I love Indian culture. I've taken Indian philosophy classes. I love Hindi. I love all of that stuff. But let's call a spade a spade. Yeah. She built him up and made him into what he is. This is his third name change, folks. So let's just leave it at that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, these people
are not realizing that they're cooked. And thank God I found the tweet, because the funny thing is I wasn't even talking about JD Vance. It's a fucking trend, like Sarah said. Here's another guy. I don't know. I had to look this up. Where this congressperson.
Oh yeah.
Brandon Gill. Yeah. Yeah. See how he idolized the.
Go back and look, and this is why I pointed it out yesterday, right? Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh. The Con Inc., the grifters. They're like the mainstream Con Inc. They're all saying, we don't want mass third world immigration. Yeah. Why? Yeah. Because their Indian wives and their Japanese wives aren't third world. They're developing or first world or whatnot. It's Latin America and the Middle East. They don't want those two. They still want to take the brain drain from South and East Asia. They still want the lily white immigrants that come in from Europe. They don't want third world immigrants. It's a class issue. Again, as Mark said, it's always a class issue, and that's what it is. It's not a race issue for these people. It's a class issue. Look, there it is, third world.
I'm so glad he brought this up, because I fucking love that. I love that so much.
Right, and there goes Kurt. Kurt says third world labor is cheap. Exactly that. So why are exactly that? So exactly. So they make sure they use the qualifier third world, so they could say to their wives, "Oh, but not you, honey. Obviously, you're not from the third world."
They be hustling. I can't even be that mad at them, because they're not hustling me.
See how they shift it a little bit? I'm not saying mass deportations are a good thing. Mass deportations is something that MAGA ran on. That was a policy platform. But do you see how these guys come in to just soften it a little bit and move MAGA a little bit more towards the center?
I know that too. Yeah, look, you guys see what does that even mean in the modern age? But third world immigration, and they're hustling their support. And once again, I'm not even mad at them, because they're not hustling me. Like you have like these white chuds that say stuff like, "We need to protect the lineage. We need to protect the sanctity of the white race," while they're all supporting these people who married to Indians. Yep. Like, they hustling these people, man.
JD Vance's son is named Vivek. Okay, that's not a joke. It sounds like I made it up.
Dude, this shit is so fucking hilarious. And then this guy got clapped.
I understand that this isn't us saying like, "Oh, well, you're married to an Indian, gross." No, it's like, you're a fetishist. You're into race play. You're like over here telling everybody else how to live, where they can and can't go, but you're over here it's oh, but not me. I don't count. Like, what is this? Get out of here. You still need to explain yourself.
Yeah, I think it's clear. We're not taking a moral stand here. We're laughing at these hypocrites.
I don't mind immigration. I actually think, and here's my hot take, I did it last night, legal immigration hurts us more than illegal immigration. No offense, I don't want to work with the jobs that illegal immigrants work. I don't want to do that. And I think I also, a majority of Americans would agree, they don't want to either. That's why they're low wage, minimum, like, and they have to be done by illegals. It's the legal immigrants that come in and actually make competition for Americans. It's not illegal immigrants.
Yeah, that's a devastating point against MAGA. Like that's a devastating counter argument against MAGA and these people to say we are for pro legal immigration. Speaking of immigration,
I'm not worried about competing against Pablo from Oaxaca for a job when his skills involve everything that's manual or like hard labor. I'm worried about fighting with Supreet from India, who has the same like academic level as me and is vying for the same types of jobs. Like I'm like that's the real competition, not the illegals. The illegals are a lot of the backbone of our society, the backbone of our economy. As sad as that is.
But you guys see, I'm gonna get back on topic. You guys know me and Sarah, we just have fun written sometimes. But this is the concept they post.
What is this crap?
Oh my god, dude, motherfucker, your neighborhood looks like this right now. They like, don't you miss the good days of the 60s? That's what your community looks right now. I know. I used to work in Casa Toyotas. You guys know that. I work in this affluent white suburb. You go there, this is exactly what it looks like. The fuck you complaining about? You guys made a mistake of imposing imperialism around the world and implementing sanctions. And you motherfuckers want to travel all around the world. You want white people in Africa. You want white people in India. You want white people. There's a fucking legion of white people in Thailand. So you want white people all over the world. And then you get mad when they follow you back. You invade other countries. You meddle in other countries. You get mad when they come back.
By our own admission, we spent millions and billions in USAID. You put out all that soft power. You didn't want anybody to believe it?
I told you guys, I'm not sympathetic to shit, man, because this is the consequences of imperialism. You guys got no problem with imperialism. You love cheering on imperialism, and then you see the consequences of imperialism.
Everybody in the world, you're not as good as us. We're going to topple your government because it's not as good as ours. You don't know how to do this. We know how to do it better. And people said, well, F it. If you can't get it right here, I'm going to go where they say everything's perfect.
And then they want to complain, oh my God, why can't we have a country? Can't we have a country, Sarah? Why can't we have a country? Because you guys was fucking with everyone else. You know why China gets to have a country? You're white people say all the time. Why did China get to have a country? Because they haven't been sanctioning and bombing other fucking countries.
Literally.
Cry me a fucking river. Like, you know what I mean?
Why did they get a country? I don't know, because they haven't gone to war in over 100 years. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
exactly. And I told you guys that
don't project this incredible amount of soft power. Immigration obviously comes mostly from the hard power and the refugee crisis, but it's the soft power is the thing that makes it tick. If you don't make your country appealing, people aren't going to die trying to get into it. Yeah. So you literally like cut off your nose to spite your face as you went around for the ages saying how great you are and how everybody wants to kill us for our freedom. And people said, well, I want some of that freedom because you're over here and we're getting killed. So they leave and they come here. And then you're like, why are they here? You told them to come. You told them it was the greatest place on earth.
It's hilarious white people leave Europe and complain when America is not completely white. You know what I mean? I made my position on this very clear. Some people don't like it, but I believe in the old school libertarian belief. It's not a leftist belief. You guys hear what Bernie Sanders said? It's a libertarian belief of freedom of movement. So I'm making my argument in almost a selfish way because I don't want to be stuck in the States. No, I am a supporter of the freedom of movement of people. Now I understand why you would want to restrict immigration for a certain country because geopolitical purposes, right? Like if you're enemies, I will understand the principle behind limiting immigration in certain situations. But if we are allies, for example, the United States and Mexico, close allies. The United States is close allies with these countries. Why should there be strict, super hardcore immigration between countries that are allies and trade with each other? To me, that inherently doesn't make sense. Because we all know that immigration is the byproduct of just simply the capitalist system and the control of workers. Why does Elon Musk live in the United States? Because he has money.
Right.
So if the borders are essentially a money obstacle. So if you're rich, you can live wherever you want.
We're
so
selling
are borders real? And these are things I've been asking right wingers for years. I get these people stuff all the time. If you can live whatever you want to, this Elon Musk, they said, don't you know Elon Musk is legal? Yes, he's legal because he has money. So if you're able to travel wherever country you want based on who has money, you effectively already have open borders. It's a way to control the workers. So how is it in our interest for us to limit our movement as workers when the capitalist class have freedom of movement? This is the argument I've been making for years. And don't you see, even if you disagree with me, because I understand that not everyone agrees with my position, you can at least understand why I intellectually make the position I have. That if capitalists, if they can move from South Africa to America, if they can fly from Japan to the United States, if they can ship their factories overseas, I believe the workers should be able to move as well. It's inherently a pro-worker argument.
Interesting.
But,
that's interesting.
to be clear, there are Marxists who disagree with me, and that's okay. Because remember, what I'm advocating for is more libertarian. It's more of a libertarian freedom of movement argument, and I'm okay because there are Marxists who disagree with me. But I think I really thought through my position. I'm very confident in how well I thought through that's just my personal. I don't want any countries to tell me where the fuck I can live. If I want to move, if I want to live in Mexico, I want to be able to live in Mexico. You guys see how it's in my interest. It's in our interest to advocate for freedom of movement. That's just my position. You know what I mean? But Sarah,
I do like this about the administration, though, is that they say the quiet part out loud, right? You're saying like, oh yeah, no, rich people have freedom of movement because they do, and that's like an unspoken rule that's always been said. This administration came out and said, guess what? You could buy a citizenship. Just give us $5 million.
Yeah, they literally just give away the game.
Cut out all the crap. Cut out the middlemen. Cut out the show. Just buy a citizenship and be done with it.
Plus, the reality is, even if you disagree with me, and there are Marxists who do disagree with me, guys, I'm not the lead authority on this. You guys understand that we already live in a system of global capital dominance, where the capitalist system is completely international. So the working class needs to adjust to that as well, and they could keep the workers in control by having these borders where we can't cross. Anyway, I don't want to keep lecturing you because I know we got a long time. Let's get back to the segment. I just like to illustrate my thought process on this because I have given a lot of thought on this over the years. You know, I understand the pushback. I understand why people are like, oh my God, we should have a country. The ruling class been moved beyond the concept of a country, guys. You know what I mean?
The point of America was to not be that kind of country. Like, I don't know what you thought you were going to get. Like, that's literally our ethos. Not that I'm like a lit shit lib, that I'm like, we're a melting pot, but that's literally what the state was born. That's what it was born on. Like, and imperialism and genocide. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's the idea that's in the back of everybody's mind.
Yeah, well said.
This whole white Christian idea is fake. This European solidarity idea, it's a LARP. It's kanging. Like, none of this is real. None of this ever existed.
Base Sarah. I'm gonna read a few quick receipts because I don't want to keep you too long this time. Me and Sarah, we can do this all day if we wanted to. I had just one more segment I want to do, and this is obviously about the LA riots and Palantir. And I want to get your thoughts on the LA riots because you guys see we had a few segments on
I don't know if you're gonna like my thoughts, but I'll give them anyway.
I'm interested in hearing it because here's Laura Loomer and the Republican Party. They learned that they can use immigration as a way to implement authoritarian, crazy big techno-fascist ideology. So here's Laura Loomer, and this is where I'm starting. You guys see, I'm gonna weave you guys to a story here. Laura Loomer calling for Palantir. Time to deploy Palantir to Los Angeles to deal with the illegal. Jesus Christ. You know you love to see it. You're lying if you say you don't. And this is our friend Greg Stoker. We was on before. They're from Colonial Outcast, friend of the show. I'll just read this tweet. Actually, there's a Kurt here too. I'll read both the tweets. Kind of crazy how all the MAGA are now fan of big government. The MAGA people like Laura Loomer, they are calling for big tech overreach and spying on American citizens. But let's continue. Y'all will always fascist bootlickers with no principle beyond sentiment for your favorite billionaires. Here, Kurt Mester. I didn't see his response. I'm just interested. Do you really not comprehend the level of evil fuck of Alice Karp and Peter Thiel? Do you really not? Oh, I see how you said. Do
Yeah,
you really not comprehend the level of evil of Alex Carpenter? So yeah, so that's a good reply by
Right.
Kurt.
And nobody, like, this is where we're at, though. This is, people have to understand that the moral compass of the United States is different or is non-existent. Yesterday, Alex Carp announced his salary, or it leaked or something. $6 billion, not million, $billion in straight up compensation, not stocks, not shares, not equities, nothing. That is cash, liquid cash. And they don't see anything wrong with that. That's how we've gotten. That's how far we've gotten. This generation is very much of, if I pulled the wool over your eyes, that's your fault for being stupid, not mine. That's the sort of culture that's being pushed, especially on places like Twitter. That's why these people don't have any empathy. They don't sympathize with anybody. It's very much of, fool you once, shame on you. Fool you again, shame on you again. Like, no shame on me. I'm smarter than you. I'm winning. Yeah. That's the idea. And they're actually making it into an us versus them, right? So the us in this case is us, the illegals, for Laura Loomer, the whites. She's not even white, she's Jewish, but the whites or white passing, and the them is the illegals. What they're really saying is, I don't commit the kind of crimes that Palantir is going to go after. I'm a Zionist and I'm privileged. Yeah. The people that commit the kind of crimes, the lowly kind of crimes, the kind of crimes that we dictate and we don't like, they're going to be the victims of Palantir. Everybody cheering for the moving in of Palantir are people that aren't going to be affected by it. Everybody, they're not going to be affected by it because they hold the same views as Palantir. Palantir took out a full page ad in the New York Times, so you know how much that costs to just put the text, Palantir stands with Israel. Why did they do that? Why did they make a point to do that right now? It was like last week. They're making a stratified system. That's what they're doing. They're making a separate economy via Palantir, Bitcoin, and El Salvador, and the crypto deals in the Middle East. They're making a separate criminal system via Palantir and these privatized prisons in Gitmo and El Salvador. They're making an entirely different world for us and for them. Look at what Elon wrote at the end of the day. I mean, it's a line from a very racist novel, but he wrote, at the end of the day, we have the spaceships and they don't. Yeah. That's what he put. At the end of the day, they're in control. We're not. They get to decide what a crime is, what is good, what is evil, what is lawful, what is unlawful. They get to decide now. They're transhumanists.
Why do you guys think they're not even trying to sound persuasive when they make the anti-Semitism argument, for example? The anti-Semitism. Yeah, exactly, Sarah. This is the point.
They don't have to persuade you anymore. You either go along with it or you don't. And if you don't, then God help you.
Yep. They're not even trying to be
persuasive. Part. Those things are indicative. Will you stop? That's the scary part. Those things are very indicative of, we don't care. We have so much power over you. We don't even care what you think about it. We're going to tell you what we're doing. We're going to pretty much show you what we're doing. And if you revolt against it, we're going to use the mechanisms that we're putting in place in order to subdue you.
Yep. You guys see how Laura Loomer is making all of these tweets in support of Palantir? I don't care. I will say it again. This is how she wants you to feel. This is how she wanted her supporters to feel. I don't care if Palantir surveil jihadists and illegals. She said jihadis. So anyone who engaged in resistance, I don't give a fuck. I want them all out of my country. Do you really think we're going to mass deport 65 million people without advanced technology? You guys see the argument that they are making. MAGA is completely cooked.
We can't do it without them. We're in a situation and we just can't do it. We can't do it without Palantir. Trump ran on mass deportations, guys. We've got an illegal immigrant problem. We don't. But the only people that can fix the fake immigrant problem is Palantir. They're the only people. They're our savior, guys. They're our only hope. Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope. And, oh my God, this is such a good clip. I played it on my show. Feel free to play it again. It's such a good clip.
I'm glad we're on the same page here, because you guys see where I'm going with this story, because you guys see exactly what's going on with Palantir, the Trump administration, and the establishment is 100% okay with everything that's going on in LA. They're 100% okay. Because I want to ask you guys this question real quick. You guys know that Joe Biden spent $6 billion more on ICE than Donald Trump. You guys know that Biden was engaging in ICE raids? ICE raids didn't start under Donald Trump, you deeply unserious children. This isn't new. So why are they doing it now, Sarah? Why wasn't they protesting under Biden, Sarah? Anyway, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So let me slow down and let me get back to what's really going on in this two-way establishment push in order to get Americans 100% okay with Palantir. Because the reason why people like Laura Loomer is pushing it is because Palantir is paying influencers. There's a reason why Russell Brand wasn't talking about this. There's a reason why I show you guys that pathetic clip of Alex Jones. We like, actually Palantir. They're just AI companies just trying to get in the game, man. They're not that evil, man. They're trying to make some money, you know. Like, there's a reason why Alex Jones is like a dipshit when he talks about Palantir. And this guy, I don't know this guy for real. What's his name?
Tim Dillon. He's a comedian. Yeah.
I know he's big, but I don't know these people like that.
I don't watch it.
He explains that he got an offer from Palantir.
If you have not one reservation about what's going on over there, I'm not saying you have to feel one way or another way, but if you don't have any if you have no reservations about what's happening with all these kids getting killed, I don't know, I can't trust you. If you don't have any reservations about Palantir taking everyone's information, I don't know. I don't know if I can trust you. I think they're buying people left and right. This is my guess. They try to buy me. My pussy costs a lot of money. I get invited to these dinners. I don't go.
Good for this guy. I don't know anything about this guy. I might get roasted for saying this, but good for this guy. You know what I mean? I don't know anything about Tim Dillon.
Yeah, he's based.
I really don't. So I really hope I didn't say anything cringe there.
No,
but
he's fine.
Him.
You're
good
fine.
For him for saying this. Now
let's get better. It gets better.
Oh, you want to play more of it? Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Let's play more.
I've been invited to Thiel's house multiple times for
Thiel's
dinner.
house.
I don't go. It's no shade at them.
He said, I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play the part again because I cut it off. He explained how he was invited to Peter Thiel's place multiple times. So let me play it again in full.
I get invited to these dinners. I don't go. I've been invited to Thiel's house multiple times for dinner. I don't go. It's no shade at them or whatever, you know? The reason I don't go is I remember one dinner, they're like, we'd like to discuss the media.
Whoa.
I go, what?
Interesting.
No, thanks. We'd like to discuss dinner. We discuss the media and culture. No, thanks. Appreciate it. That's fine. Don't need a. Here's what I'm doing every week. I'm discussing the media. Hey, good news. I have a show. You can listen to it.
Good for this guy. I should start dressing like this guy during my shows, man. I take this shit too seriously.
I want those Burberry glasses so bad. Yeah, I'm just gonna start saying "fuck it" and wearing like sunglasses inside, overly accessorized. I think this is gonna be my new thing.
Hey, Chad, should I pull this off, man? I think I'm taking this.
I think you would look really good with the Burberry sunglasses, but you need them in a different color, I think. But you know who we did get to though? Peter Thiel got to Joe Rogan. That's who we got.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Like that's probably the least surprising thing I ever heard. I'll finish the clip because I haven't heard the whole thing.
Joe Rogan is like, I think I'm on shaky ground. If you watch his interview with Cash, he's like, I can't believe I'm asking these questions. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, he's very like that guy. Something is very wrong with that guy.
Oh my God. Like Joe Rogan, I did so many roasts with Rogan, but so I can get over. But that's literally like the deep state podcast now. They have FBI people like Cash Patel on to explain the project they're working on. Hey man, all the bad thing you heard about the FBI, that's wrong, man.
Steve Bannon is his strategy to flood the zone. This is well known. Most of the conning, the right wingers have talked about this concept. This is a concept. It's not a unique concept to Steve Bannon, but Steve Bannon named it flooding the zone. And it was something that he really, really was. It was a big strategy. He was very much into and always advised people to flood the zone. Immediately following the leak or the news about the government contract with Palantir, followed right by the Epstein thing, Cash was sent out to Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan's the easy podcast. He won't ask any like too much, right? And JD Vance was sent over to Theo Von to go down to the Country Boys cat, like go on down and be a noob, like all that crap, right? That like Midwestern flyover state kind of crap. They were curated for those two podcasts purposefully. Don't forget that Theo Von just met with the Kushners and had dinner with them. right? And so he gets to do this sort of wishy-washy, like there's a genocide, and I'm kind of coming to the realization a year and a half later. Can we kind of talk about it and want to tiptoe around the issue now that like that's an actually kind of accepted storyline, right? That's accepted in normal vernacular and conversations. So these people just do the things that are just up to the edge and not so much.
They try to make things complicated. Like when they talk about it, they try to make something like complicated. Like, oh my God, what's going on over there? What's going on? Like, no, what do you mean what's going on? Anyway,
so
sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
It's so sad. I mean, and you heard JD Vance, he tried to answer the question. He said that straight up, like, Gaza's a genocide. What are we doing? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, I mean, anytime you see a dead... Yeah, go ahead. Anytime you see a dead body, you know, you should feel something about it. And then he like segues over to the Russia-Ukraine war like it's nothing. It's bizarre. And I'm kind of talking to you guys, the viewers now, but if you guys really look at why those two podcasts were chosen. Joe Rogan was chosen for a reason because he doesn't ask hard questions. He doesn't challenge his guests. And he's kind of like the bro, you know, like the short bro. Cash is another short bro, you know. And then JD Vance goes on the Theo Von one because he's got to get back to his hunky dory. I'm not a tech bro. I'm a Midwestern son of heroin addicts, just like all of you. I'm a good old boy. And that's why he went on Theo Von. And also Theo Von kind of has that deer in the headlights sort of doe-eyed innocence about him that really works well with JD Vance that wouldn't have worked well with Cash. These people are very curated and they're chosen for specific jobs at specific times. You guys need to watch. All of these people are in control of somebody else, and it's a very, very, very big web.
Yeah, they adjusted to the new age of information very fast.
There was a post I shared on my personal. There's a Basil who's fantastic, guys. If you're not following him, Basil, he says exactly it's an inverse of the flow of influence now. They're not convincing Vance of anything. Their job is to convince you that whatever Vance does or doesn't do, like in the instance of deportation, is actually based. Why do you think Laura Loomer has a 3-hour meeting with JD Vance and she comes out of it singing the praises of Palantir, which she never really talked about before?
Yeah.
Why is Kash Patel going on to Joe Rogan to manufacture consent? Why on this? It was a really big week for Theo Von, right? He did his whole song and dance and went viral about, now I believe it's a genocide. And then a week later, JD Vance is on the show trying to convince them it's not really a genocide. I don't believe it's a genocide, but it is terrible what they're doing. It's all a show. They're the same exact thing as the mainstream media, except they're worse at it. They're sloppier and they have less money. It's like amateur hour over here. And if people don't see what's going on, then you need to step back and go read Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky, which should have been the first book you read before you even started thinking about what propaganda was. And understand that this is something that they've been doing for years. It's not far-fetched to know that they spin news stories, they create fake ones to mix in with the real ones, and they flood the zone.